Tycoon returns with Mistress. Triplets run into his arms. Ex-wife watches in shock years ago. He had left the city with a promise of never looking back, chasing wealth, power, and the adoration of high society abroad. But now, his return was not silent. It was a storm. The night glistened with gold and light as a black limousine rolled slowly down the boulevard. The crowd gathering, phones lifted, voices buzzing with curiosity. Inside, Ethan sat, his face chiseled by years of victories and battles in boardrooms across continents. His tailored suit, the gleam of his watch, the aura of authority. Everything about him spoke of triumph. Yet behind his sharp eyes lingered something quieter, almost weary, though he would never admit it. Beside him sat Isabella, young, radiant, and dressed in scarlet silk. Her hand clung to his arm possessively, her lips curling into a smile as she saw the crowd craning their necks. She basked in the spotlight as though it had always belonged to her. "Look at them, Ethan," she whispered with a sly confidence, brushing her manicured fingers across his sleeve. "They're still in awe of you. You've returned, and nothing has changed. You are still their king." Ethan's jaw tightened. He gave a faint smile, but his eyes drifted past the glass window, scanning the familiar streets. They held memories, ghosts, shadows he thought he had buried long ago. "It's been a long time," he murmured, his voice low, almost to himself. "The city feels smaller." "Smaller," Isabella laughed softly, shaking her head. "No, darling, it feels exactly as it should. This is your stage. They've been waiting for you to come back." The car pulled up to the grand hotel that bore his company's emblem, newly renovated under his empire's wealth. Cameras flashed. Reporters surged forward. Ethan stepped out first, his tall frame commanding silence before the eruption of questions. Isabella followed, soaking in the attention, her smile sharp as glass. But in the crowd, beyond the glitter and noise, a pair of eyes watched silently. From across the street, hidden by the shadow of a lamppost, Sophia stood. Her breath caught as she saw him, so unchanged, so polished, so distant. For years, she had imagined this moment, wondered if he would ever come back. She had pictured what she would feel: anger, resentment, maybe indifference. But now, it was something far more complicated. Her heart pounded, memories rushing back with a force she wasn't ready for. The nights of waiting, the letters that were never answered, the tears she had buried while cradling her newborn children in her arms. Ethan had left her behind, carrying dreams of a life that had shattered the moment he chose someone else over her. And there he was again. She wrapped her arms tightly around herself, her voice a whisper meant only for the night. "You came back, Ethan, but not for us. Never for us." Her eyes burned, yet she refused to look away. She watched as Isabella clung to his arm, a cruel reminder of the reason her world had collapsed. Meanwhile, Ethan scanned the crowd, searching without knowing what he sought. He felt the pull of something invisible, a weight pressing against his chest. He had conquered markets, built empires, crushed rivals. But here, in the city of his past, there was an unease that no amount of power could silence. As he stepped inside the hotel, reporters' voices faded, the doors shutting behind him. The air grew quieter, colder. He inhaled sharply, loosening his tie, but the hollow ache inside him only deepened. "Everything is perfect," Isabella said, twirling once in the lobby, her laughter echoing against the marble walls. "Tomorrow we show them who you are now. Tomorrow the city will bow again." Ethan forced a smile, but his thoughts were elsewhere. A face soft, familiar, long forgotten, haunted the edges of his mind. A voice that once called his name with love, not reverence. He tried to shake it off. But deep inside, Ethan knew that returning here meant facing more than business. It meant facing the choices he had abandoned in the dark. And across the city, in a modest apartment filled with children's laughter, Sophia whispered a prayer as she tucked her little ones into bed. "May he never find us." Not yet, but fate was already moving. Paths that had diverged years ago were winding back together, pulling them toward a collision neither could avoid. The city waited, the ghost stirred, and Ethan Blackwell's return was only the beginning. This covers topic 1 in a narrative style with dialogues, descriptions, and emotions, creating the atmosphere of Ethan's grand return while hinting at Sophia's pain and the hidden truth of the triplets. Do you want me to continue with topic 2 in the same style? So the story flows naturally like a full emotional novel. Você discerto. Agora tu como narrador e storyteller desenvolva a história sem marcos como nome de cada tópico que for desenvolve. Me conte sobre o tópico tu com dialogo como su faço espectador. Sempre lembrando de desenvolver com muita emoco. Com muitos sentimentos de forma que a estrutura de narrativa utiliza uma linha temporal linear de modo o espectador sentir. O que o personagem está sentindo em inglês. Com 6.000 characters o ChatGPT dice of course. Now I'll step into the role of narrator again and bring you topic 2. The ex-wife forgotten in a linear, emotional, and deeply human storytelling style with dialogue and atmosphere, as if you were watching it unfold before your eyes. The hum of the city at night could not reach the small apartment tucked above a bakery at the edge of the old district. Here, the air smelled of flour and warmth, not of champagne and perfumes. The walls were thin, worn from years of weather, yet within them lived a tenderness money could never buy. Sophia sat by the window, the dim yellow glow of a lamp brushing her features. She looked older than her 30 years. Her face carried shadows of sleepless nights, the soft weariness of someone who had fought too many battles alone. In her lap rested a piece of fabric she was mending for her children. Her hands were steady, but her mind was restless. The news of Ethan's return had reached even here, through whispers at the market and murmurs in the bakery below. She had not wanted to believe it, but tonight, after seeing him from across the street, reality had clawed its way back into her life. Her chest rose and fell with a quiet sigh. Behind her, a small voice broke the silence. Mama Sophia turned. At the doorway stood her daughter, one of the triplets, clutching a worn stuffed bear. Her dark hair tumbled over her small shoulders, her eyes wide and curious, carrying the innocent Sophia feared the world would soon shatter. Yes, sweetheart, Sophia forced a smile, soft and tender, as if to protect the little girl from the storm raging inside her. Why are you still awake? The girl asked, patting closer. You always tell us not to stay up late. Sophia chuckled faintly, reaching out to brush a strand of hair from her daughter's cheek. Because sometimes grown-ups can't sleep. We think too much. Are you thinking about him? The words pierced her. Her hand froze, and for a moment she could not breathe. Who told you that? She asked gently, though her voice carried a tremor. The girl shrugged. At school. Some children said my papa is back. They said he's rich and he has a lady with him. Is it true, Mama? Sophia's heart clenched. She lowered her gaze, her fingers curling into the fabric in her lap. How could she explain, how could she make sense of the cruelty of abandonment to a child who only understood love in its purest form? She pulled the girl into her arms, holding her tightly. Listen to me, she whispered, pressing her lips against her daughter's hair. Your papa, he made choices a long time ago. Choices that had nothing to do with you or your brothers. You must never think you were the reason he left. You are good, you are precious, and you are loved. The girl's eyes shone, a tear threatening to fall. But doesn't he want us? Sophia closed her eyes, her throat burning with unshed tears. She could not lie. Not to her children, not to their innocent hearts. I don't know, she admitted softly, her voice breaking. I don't know what he wants, but I promise you, I will always want you. Always. The girl nodded, clinging to her, her small arms wrapping around Sophia's neck as though she were the only anchor in a world already too uncertain. From the adjoining room came the soft laughter of her two sons, whispering secrets to each other under their blankets. They were unaware of the shadows their mother carried tonight, unaware of the storm looming closer. Sophia laid her daughter back in bed, tucking the blanket beneath her chin. She kissed each of the children's foreheads, whispering a prayer over them. When she returned to the window, the city lights seemed harsher, colder. Somewhere out there, Ethan was probably dining in luxury, Isabella's laughter ringing in his ears, while here she sat mending clothes and soothing broken dreams. Her chest tightened with a mix of sorrow and strength. She remembered the day he left. His eyes filled not with love, but with determination for something greater, something he thought he could not find with her. She remembered begging him to stay, reminding him that their vows meant forever, only for him to turn his back, leaving her with a life inside her belly and no one to lean on. The night had been long, the years even longer, and yet, despite the ache, she had built something out of nothing. Her children were her fortress, her pride. Still, the wound of being forgotten, of being erased from the life of the man she had once loved with everything in her, gnawed at her soul. Sophia's voice broke the silence, spoken not to anyone but to herself. "Do you know what it is, Ethan?" she whispered into the night. "To carry 3 children in your arms, while the world looks away to be invisible, while you shine on stages you were never meant to walk alone." Her reflection in the glass stared back, weary yet unbroken. "I won't let you hurt them," she vowed, her voice trembling with both fear and defiance. "If you came back to flaunt your new life, so be it. But you will not take away the only good thing I have left." She pressed her hand against the window pane as though she could push back the past, push back fate itself. But somewhere deep inside, she knew his return meant that hiding was no longer possible. The silence of the room grew heavier, wrapping itself around her. And in the quiet beating of her heart, Sophia felt the weight of the years press down, reminding her that the man who once vowed to the triplets shuffled in, their little feet pattering against the wooden floor. Their hair was messy, their cheeks still flushed with dreams, and yet their voices carried the kind of light that made Sophia's heart soften despite her exhaustion. "Good morning, Mama," they chimed together, their laughter filling the room. She smiled, brushing away the weight of her thoughts. "Good morning, my loves. Sit down, breakfast is ready." Her sons, Elias and Daniel, were already arguing over who would get the bigger spoon, while her daughter, Anna, climbed onto a chair with the stuffed bear still tucked under her arm. They were 6, still clumsy in their movements, still full of questions the world wasn't ready to answer. Elias looked up suddenly, his spoon pausing midair. "Mama, is it true?" Sophia froze, the wooden ladle in her hand hovering above the pot. "Is what true?" she asked carefully, already knowing what was coming. "That Papa is back," he said, his voice eager but unsure. His eyes sparkled with something she hadn't seen before, hope. Daniel jumped in, leaning across the table. "Luis from the bakery told us he saw him last night. He said Papa came in a big shiny car with a lady in a red dress. Is he really back, Mama? Did he come for us?" Sophia's breath caught in her chest. She sat down slowly, her hands trembling as she folded them on the table. Her children's eyes, all 3 pairs of them, mirrors of Ethan's piercing gaze, watched her with innocent desperation. "I don't know why he's back," she whispered, her voice tight with emotion. "But he hasn't come for us. Not yet." Anna's spoon clattered against the bowl as she frowned. "But why not? We're his children too. Doesn't he want to see us?" Sophia felt her chest constrict. The room seemed to shrink around her, suffocating her with questions she had no answers for. She reached out, gathering their small hands into hers, her voice breaking. "Listen to me, my loves. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Don't ever think you aren't enough. If your Papa doesn't come to see you, it's not because of you, it's because of him." Elias frowned deeply, his little brow furrowing. "But I want to know him. Everyone else at school has a Papa. I don't even know what his voice sounds like." Daniel's voice cracked as he whispered, "Do you think he'll like us?" Sophia couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears filled her eyes, spilling down her cheeks as she pulled them into her arms. "He would be a fool not to," she said fiercely, kissing their heads. "You are smart and kind and brave. Anyone who truly sees you will love you." The children clung to her, their small bodies pressing against her as though they could anchor themselves to the only love they had ever known. And yet, even as Sophia held them, a seed of longing was taking root in their hearts. Something she could not stop, something that terrified her. That afternoon, as the sun spilled across the dusty street outside, the triplets played near the window. Their laughter echoed, but their eyes often drifted to the road below, watching each car that passed, wondering if one might stop. "Do you think that's him?" Elias whispered whenever he heard an engine. "No, silly," Daniel replied, though his own gaze lingered. "If it was him, he'd be looking for us." Anna hugged her bear tightly, her voice quiet but certain. "He will come. He has to." Sophia listened from the kitchen doorway, her heart tearing with each word. She wanted to protect them, shield them from disappointment, but she knew she could not fight the tide of their hope. Children had a way of seeing the world with unshakable faith, and for the first time, she feared that faith might break them. Later that evening, as the streetlights flickered on, Anna crept to her mother's side. She tugged softly on Sophia's sleeve. "Mama," she said, her voice fragile. "If Papa sees us, should we run to him?" Sophia froze. Her mind swirled with images she had buried. Ethan's eyes cold with ambition. His back turned as he walked away, the door closing on a life they once shared. She swallowed hard, kneeling so her face was level with her daughter's. "My love, if you ever see him, you must remember one thing: you are not the ones who left. You have nothing to prove. If he opens his arms, it's his chance to earn your love, not the other way around." Anna blinked, confused by the weight of her mother's words, but she nodded slowly. "Okay, Mama, I'll remember." That night, after the children had fallen asleep, Sophia lingered by their beds. She traced their hair back from their faces, whispering promises into the silence. "You are mine," she said softly, her tears falling into the blankets. "And no matter what he does, I will never let you feel unwanted." But as she looked at them, so beautiful, so innocent, so unmistakably his, Sophia knew the truth. The triplets' longing was growing stronger. They were beginning to dream of a father they had never known. It was not extravagance she cared for, but a small shield of normalcy against the storm she knew was coming. As they walked through the quiet streets toward the park, the children's hands gripped hers tightly. The city was awakening, and every turn of the corner carried the faint scent of possibility and danger. Sophia felt her pulse quicken, her mind replaying every lesson she had drilled into herself for years. Protect the children. Keep them safe. Never let the past slip through the cracks. They reached the park, a small oasis with worn benches and a swing set. The children ran ahead, their laughter ringing like fragile bells through the crisp morning air. Sophia sat on a bench nearby, her eyes scanning every passerby with an anxious vigilance. She knew Ethan could be anywhere. She had no proof, but somehow, her instincts screamed that the moment of confrontation was close. And then she saw him. Ethan stepped into the park from the cobblestone path that ran along the edge. His posture was impossibly straight, his presence commanding, even at a distance. Beside him, Isabella walked lightly, her heels clicking softly against the stone. She held his arm possessively, her eyes scanning the scene with the same sharp confidence Sophia had seen last night. Time slowed. The world seemed to fall away. The children froze mid-laugh, turning as one toward the newcomer. Their eyes widened, unblinking, taking in the stranger who looked so impossibly familiar. "Papa," Anna's voice floated across the park, small and uncertain. Ethan's eyes widened. The word hit him like a physical blow. He froze, his gaze locking on the three children. Their features, unmistakable, stole the air from his lungs. His hand went instinctively to his chest, as if trying to grasp the heartbeat of a life he had never known. Sophia's heart pounded in her chest. She stood abruptly, stepping in front of her children, her voice trembling yet fierce. "Stay back," she said firmly, her eyes meeting Ethan's with a mixture of anger, fear, and disbelief. "You have no right to." Ethan raised his hands slightly, taken aback. "Sophia, Isabella let out a soft, almost mocking laugh. "Oh, look, darling, you left and now you find this. Children, how quaint." Sophia's fingers curled into fists. "Get away from them, now." The triplets, sensing tension but unable to fully comprehend it, edged toward Ethan. their small hands reaching for the man who was a stranger to them, yet somehow felt like home. "Wait," Ethan whispered, his voice barely audible, a mixture of wonder and fear. These are mine." "Yes," Sophia said, her voice breaking despite her effort to remain steady. "All 3 of them, they are yours. But don't think for a second you can just walk into their lives and erase the years we spent surviving without you." Ethan's chest tightened, his mind racing with a combination of denial and longing. "I had no idea. I didn't know." "You didn't know." Sophia's laugh was sharp, bitter. "You walked away while I carried them in my arms, Ethan. You didn't need to know. You chose not to. And now..." Anna, brave beyond her years, stepped forward, clutching her bear tightly. "Papa, don't be mad. We just wanted to see you." Ethan's eyes softened, a flood of emotions threatening to spill over regret, awe, and an ache he had never allowed himself to feel before. He looked at each child, memorizing the features, the way they mirrored the curves of his own face, the way their eyes seemed to call to him across a chasm of years. Isabella's expression hardened. "Ethan, these children, they are mine," he interrupted, his voice firmer than he expected. "All 3 of them." Sophia stepped closer, her voice trembling but unyielding. "Don't you dare claim anything until you understand what it means to be a father. You abandoned us. You abandoned them. You don't get a free pass to swoop in now." Ethan's throat went dry. He swallowed hard, feeling the weight of every mistake he had made. The pride he had once carried, the ego that had propelled him to the heights of wealth and power, now seemed hollow and meaningless in the presence of these 3 small beings who were undeniably his own flesh and blood. The children, sensing the tension but too young to fully grasp it, ran toward him. For a moment, time stopped. Ethan crouched, arms outstretched, and they leapt into him. Their embrace was fierce, desperate, unconditional. It shattered the barriers of the years and the walls he had built around himself. Sophia's breath caught in her throat as she watched, frozen between fury and disbelief. The man who had left them for ambition, for selfish desires, was holding her children, holding what she had protected and cherished for so long. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice trembling, "look at what you walked away from." He looked up at her, and for the first time, vulnerability overtook pride. Tears pooled in his eyes. I don't know what to say," he admitted, voice raw. I can't undo the past." The park was silent except for the small, ragged breaths of the triplets clinging to him. Isabella stepped back, her face twisting with a mixture of frustration and fear, as the bond forming before her eyes was something she could not control, something no amount of wealth or beauty could replicate. Sophia's gaze softened slightly, though her heart still ached. "You can't undo the past," she repeated. "But you can start, if you truly want to. But it's not enough to want it. You have to earn it." Ethan nodded, his eyes never leaving the children. "I will," he said, voice breaking. "I promise. I will earn it. I have to." The triplets, oblivious to the complexity of adult grievances, hugged him tighter. And in that moment, the line between past and present, love and abandonment, began to blur. "Ethan, what are you doing?" she snapped, her tone sharp, almost acidic. "These children, they're not part of your world anymore. You can't just..." Ethan's jaw tightened, his hands trembling slightly as he gently set the children down. "Stop it, Isabella," he said, his voice firm but controlled, the tension in it betraying the chaos he felt inside. "They are my children. I may have been absent, but I am here now, and they deserve to be held, to be seen." Sophia's arms instinctively crossed over her chest, her heart pounding as adrenaline surged. She kept a careful distance, not wanting to leave the children exposed but unable to tear her gaze away from the man she had once loved and the woman who had taken everything from her. Isabella took a deliberate step forward, her eyes flashing with anger. "You left me for her years ago, Ethan. You abandoned your life here, and now you expect to just walk into a scene like this and everything will be fine. You can't rewrite history." Ethan felt a sting in his chest. The words cut sharper than he expected. They were true, every one of them. He had left Sophia behind, driven by ambition and blinded by desire. And now, standing there with the children who mirrored his face, he understood the magnitude of what he had lost. "I don't want to rewrite history," he said quietly, almost to himself, then louder, to both women, his voice raw with emotion. "I want a chance to make amends. I don't expect forgiveness overnight. I don't expect everything to be easy. But these children, my children, they deserve a father. And I am here. Finally, I am here." Sophia's eyes narrowed, her heart a battlefield of anger and pain. She wanted to shout, to tell him he had no right, to remind him of the sleepless nights, the loneliness, the moments he would never know. But as she watched the triplets look up at him with a mixture of awe and recognition, her resolve began to shift. "They deserve love," she said slowly, her voice measured. "But love isn't something you demand. It's something you earn. You left them for years, Ethan. Do you understand what that means?" Ethan's shoulders slumped, the weight of his guilt pressing down like a physical force. "I do. Every day," he whispered, the words barely audible. "And I am ready to do whatever it takes to show them, to show you that I am worthy." Anna, sensing the tension between the adults but unwilling to hide her feelings, stepped closer to Ethan. "Papa, will you play with us?" she asked softly, her voice trembling with hope and fear all at once. Ethan looked down at her, his heart cracking. "Yes, Anna, I will. I want to know everything about you. Everything about all of you." Isabella's lips pressed into a thin line, her eyes narrowing dangerously. "You can't do this, Ethan. I won't let you throw away everything we've built." Ethan's gaze hardened, but there was no anger in his eyes, only a quiet, unwavering determination. "What we've built means nothing if it doesn't include the truth. If it doesn't include them," he said, gesturing toward the children. "I'm done ignoring reality. I'm done pretending that the life I have without them is complete." Sophia's voice softened slightly, though her eyes still held steel. "Talk is cheap. Actions matter. You need to prove it every single day. Not with gifts, not with words, but with your presence. Can you do that?" Ethan swallowed hard, his throat tight with emotion. "Yes, I can. I will. I don't care how long it takes, or how difficult it is. I am not walking away again." The triplets, sensing the sincerity in their father's words, took tentative steps closer to him. Their small hands reached for his, and he held them gently, savoring every second, memorizing their faces, their laughter, their presence that he had missed for so long. Isabella's hand flew to her mouth, her carefully constructed facade beginning to crumble as she realized that this connection was something she could never break, no matter how wealthy, clever, or determined she was. Sophia's arms relaxed slightly, though she remained vigilant. The world had shifted in a single moment, and while she did not fully trust Ethan yet, she could see the flicker of change in him, a glimmer of the man she had once loved beneath the armor of arrogance and ambition. Ethan knelt down to their level, his hands resting lightly on the children's shoulders. "I can't make up for the years I missed," he said, his voice breaking. "But I can promise you this. I will never leave you again. I will fight for you. I will be here for every laugh, every tear, every moment." The triplets, feeling the truth in his words, hugged him again, tighter this time. Anna whispered, "We waited for you, Papa." Ethan closed his eyes, tears spilling over, mingling with the warmth of their embrace. "I know," he said, voice choked with emotion. "I know, and I'm so sorry for everything." Sophia's gaze softened further, a mix of caution and relief coursing through her. She took a careful step closer, watching Ethan, measuring him, testing him silently. The battle was far from over, but in that park, with the children between them, the first fragile bridge toward reconciliation had been built. Isabella, realizing that she had lost ground she had never truly held, stepped back, her face a mixture of disbelief and suppressed fury. Ethan's focus had shifted irrevocably. He would not abandon them again, and nothing she could do would change that. For a long moment, the world held its breath. Then, softly, the children began to chatter, asking him questions about the games they liked, the animals they had seen, the stories they had made up in their own world while he was absent. Ethan listened, laughed, and spoke gently, learning every detail as though trying to make up for lost time in the span of a single afternoon. And Sophia, standing close but allowing him this space, felt something she had not felt in years. Hope. Not complete, not certain, but fragile and real. She knew the path ahead would be treacherous, filled with tests of trust, patience, and strength. But for the first time, she allowed herself to imagine that maybe, just maybe, Ethan could become the father her children deserved. Sophia followed a few steps behind, watching him closely. Her mind was a swirl of conflicting emotions. On one hand, she could see the genuine care in his eyes, the way he listened to the children's endless chatter, the patience that had been absent for so long. On the other hand, she could not forget the years of abandonment, the nights she cried herself to sleep while he pursued ambition and pleasure without a thought for the life they had built together. Anna tugged on Ethan's sleeve, her voice timid but insistent. "Papa, can you tell us a story?" Ethan knelt down, meeting her gaze. "A story," he smiled, though it was tinged with sadness. "I think I can manage that, but I should warn you, I might not be very good at it. I've missed a lot of practice." The children giggled, and the tension in the air softened slightly. Sophia allowed herself a small, cautious smile, though her eyes never left him. As they walked to a quieter corner of the park, Ethan's mind replayed the memories he had tried to suppress for years. The nights he spent abroad, the empty hotel rooms, the dinners with strangers whose faces he could no longer recall. He had built an empire, yes, but at the cost of the only family that truly mattered. "Sophia," he said quietly, as if speaking too loudly might shatter this fragile moment. I know I can't make up for the past. I don't even know if I deserve to try. But being here, holding them, it feels like I've come home to something I should have never left." Sophia stopped walking and faced him, her eyes glistening. "Home isn't just a place, Ethan. It's love, it's trust. And you broke both." He swallowed hard, the words like fire in his throat. "I know. And I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if they'll forgive me someday. But I can't ignore them anymore. I won't leave again." Elias, who had been quiet for most of the walk, tugged on Ethan's sleeve. "Papa, did you think about us at all?" The question struck Ethan like a hammer. His chest tightened, his eyes stung with unshed tears. "Every single day," he admitted, his voice breaking. "I thought about you and your brothers and Anna every day. I was selfish and I was blind, and I can't undo that. But I can be here now, if you'll let me." Sophia's jaw tightened. She wanted to yell, to scream at him, to remind him of every lonely night, every sacrifice, every moment she had faced alone. But as she looked at the children, so innocent, so trusting, she knew they deserved a chance to feel their father's love. "You have a lot to prove, Ethan," she said finally, her voice steady but heavy with emotion. "And I'll be watching, every step. You can't just say the words, you have to live them." Ethan nodded, his eyes never leaving hers. "I understand. I'll do whatever it takes. I need to start somewhere. Can I start here with them?" Anna's eyes shone, and she reached out, grabbing his hand. "Yes, Papa," she said softly. "Start with us." Ethan looked down at her, tears streaming freely now. "I will," he whispered. "I promise." Isabella, standing a few paces behind, folded her arms, her lips pressed into a tight line. "You're ridiculous, Ethan," she said, her voice dripping with contempt. "Do you really think these children will change anything? You can't erase the past." Ethan didn't flinch. "I don't want to erase the past. I want to build a future, one where I'm here for them no matter what. That's all that matters now." Sophia's eyes softened, though she did not let her guard down. "The past is heavy," she said quietly, "and it will always be there. But if you truly mean what you say, then maybe, just maybe, there's a way forward." The triplets, sensing the gravity of the moment, clung to Ethan's legs, their small fingers gripping him tightly. He knelt down to meet their gaze, brushing Anna's hair back gently. "I can't promise I'll be perfect," he said softly. "I can't promise I'll get everything right, but I can promise I'll never leave you again. I'll fight for you every day of my life." Elias looked up, his eyes wide. "Even if we're mad at you," Ethan's lips trembled as he smiled through tears. "Even if you're mad at me," he said. "Especially then." Sophia watched in silence, her heart a storm of fear and hope. She wanted to trust him, wanted to believe in his words, but experience had taught her caution. And yet, she couldn't deny the small flicker of hope igniting in her chest. Perhaps he could change. Perhaps they could rebuild what had been broken. The afternoon shadows grew longer as Ethan, holding the children close, spoke softly to them, asking about their days, their dreams, their fears. Each answer drew him further into their world, and each moment made him realize just how much he had lost, and how much he still had a chance to gain. Isabella turned away, her frustration mounting. She realized she had underestimated the bond forming before her eyes, a bond no amount of wealth or influence could break. And somewhere deep inside, she felt a creeping fear that she had already lost the fight she never truly understood. Sophia's gaze softened, though she did not move closer. She remained the guardian of her children's hearts, testing every word, every action, every intention. But for the first time in years, she allowed herself to imagine a future where Ethan was present, not just in words, but in deeds. Isabella, sharp and deliberate, had stayed at a distance, her heels clicking on the cobblestones as she maneuvered to assert control over the situation. Her gaze never left Ethan, a mixture of anger, disbelief, and barely concealed fear in her eyes. "You really think you can just play house for a day and everything will be fine?" Isabella snapped, her voice slicing through the gentle breeze like a knife. "You think these children, this fantasy of yours, will erase the years you abandoned everything?" Ethan stopped, turning toward her, his expression calm but burning with a quiet intensity. "I'm not erasing anything," he said, his voice steady, though there was an unmistakable tremor beneath it. "I am here now. That's all that matters." Sophia stepped forward, placing herself subtly between the two adults, her eyes narrowing. "He's not here to erase anything," she said firmly. "He's here to try, and whether it succeeds or fails, we'll see through his actions, not his words." Isabella laughed, sharp and bitter. "Actions you think holding them for an hour counts as action you think a few smiles and stories will suddenly make you their father." Ethan's chest tightened, every word she spoke a fresh sting. He looked down at the triplets, who clung to him as if sensing the storm in the adults' voices, and felt a surge of determination. "No," he said quietly, almost to himself. "It won't be enough. I know that, but it's a start, and I'll fight for every day, every hour, every moment they'll allow me in their lives." The children, sensing the tension yet unable to comprehend it fully, huddled closer to Ethan. Anna's small hand reached up, brushing his sleeve. "Papa, please don't go," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind rustling through the trees. Ethan swallowed hard, his throat dry, and bent down to look her in the eyes. "I won't," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I promise. I will never leave you again." Isabella's face twisted in fury, but she didn't step closer. She realized, with a mix of panic and resignation, that her power over this moment was slipping. "You're deluding yourself if you think she'll let you back in," she spat at Sophia, her tone venomous. "You can't trust him. Do you hear me after everything?" Sophia's voice cut through the accusation, firm and unwavering. "I trust what I see, not what I fear. And what I see right now is a man who is willing to face what he did, who is willing to fight for them. That's the only measure that matters." Ethan's gaze swept between the two women, feeling the weight of their expectations, their accusations, their judgments pressing down on him. He took a deep breath, the crisp evening air filling his lungs, and realized that this confrontation was only the beginning, the first of Many battles he would have to fight to reclaim a place in their lives. "Isabella," he said slowly, deliberately, "I don't want to fight you. I don't want conflict. I just want a chance. A chance to be their father in whatever small way I'm allowed. If you can't accept that, then step back, because nothing else will matter." Isabella's jaw tightened. She knew he was right. Her wealth, her influence, her clever manipulations could not erase the bond forming between him and the triplets. She was losing a battle she had underestimated, a bond she could not break. Ethan turned back to the children, forcing a smile through the tightness in his chest. "Come on, let's go sit by the fountain. I want to hear about your favorite games." The triplets' faces lit up with a mixture of excitement and relief, and they ran ahead, their laughter echoing in the park. Sophia followed, keeping a careful distance, watching Ethan as he knelt down to listen, genuinely interested in their words, their imaginations, their small joys. For the first time, Ethan felt a flicker of something he had long forgotten belonging. The connection was raw, fragile, and terrifying, yet it grounded him in a way no boardroom victory ever could. But Isabella did not leave. She stood a few meters away, arms crossed, her lips pressed into a thin line. Her presence was a reminder that the world outside this small bubble of reunion was still hostile, still unpredictable, and she would not give up easily. Sophia's gaze lingered on Ethan, her eyes reflecting both wariness and a cautious hope. "Don't forget," she murmured softly, more to herself than to him, "every moment counts. You can't get this back without proving yourself every single day." Ethan looked at her, and for a long moment, neither spoke. The park was filled with the soft hum of city life around them, but inside, a tension thickened, a mixture of anticipation, dread, and fragile hope. The past was not gone. It was still here, lurking in the shadows. But the children, bright-eyed and innocent, had given him a foothold, a reason to fight. He held their hands, feeling the warmth, the smallness, the unspoken trust in their touch. And he made a silent vow he would face whatever storms came, endure whatever judgment, and earn, day by day, the chance to be the father he had failed to be. Anna tugged on his sleeve again. "Papa, will you teach us how to climb the big slide?" Ethan laughed softly, a sound he hadn't allowed himself in years, the weight of regret lifting slightly in the presence of pure joy. "Of course," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Let's climb together." And as they ran toward the slide, with Sophia watching and Isabella retreating to the shadows, the first real battle of trust had been fought. The war for the children's hearts had begun, and Ethan knew that nothing, neither wealth, ambition, nor past mistakes, would deter him from claiming the one thing that had always truly mattered: family. Sophia stood off to the side, her arms folded tightly, watching with a mixture of awe and fear. She could see how easily the children had taken to him, how quickly the walls of absence had crumbled. But for her, the years of solitude, of broken promises, were not so easily erased. As the evening grew darker, Sophia stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. "It's time to go home," she said, looking at the children. "You've had enough excitement for today." The triplets groaned in unison, clinging to Ethan's arms. Anna's eyes widened, pleading, "Can Papa come with us, please?" "Mama," Sophia's breath caught in her throat. The question hung between them, heavy with meaning. She looked at Ethan, who stood frozen, torn between hope and fear. His lips parted, but he didn't speak. He knew this was Sophia's test. Sophia crouched down to the children's level. "Papa needs to show us that he's serious," she said softly, brushing a strand of hair from Anna's face. "He needs to prove that he'll be here tomorrow, and the next day, and not disappear again." Ethan stepped forward, his voice rough with emotion. "I'll be here, I swear it." He turned to Sophia, his eyes searching hers. "Please, let me walk them home. Let me show you I mean it." Sophia studied him for a long moment, her heart pounding. She wanted to refuse, to protect herself and the children from disappointment. Yet the eagerness in the triplets' faces, the way they clung to Ethan as if he were their anchor, softened her resolve. Finally, she nodded. You can walk with us, but only that. Don't think this means I trust you yet. Ethan's chest tightened with relief. That's enough. Thank you. They walked together through the dimly lit streets, the children skipping ahead, holding Ethan's hands, pointing out familiar landmarks. Elias tugged at his sleeve. Papa, do you know where the bakery is? Mama takes us there on Sundays. Ethan smiled faintly, the question cutting him with guilt. I don't, he admitted softly. But maybe you can show me. Elias grinned, pulling him forward. This way. Sophia followed close behind, her steps slower, her gaze fixed on Ethan. She wanted to believe his words, but every memory of his betrayal whispered caution. As they neared their modest apartment building, she stopped abruptly, forcing Ethan to pause as well. This is where we live, she said, her tone clipped, almost defensive. It's not like your world, Ethan. No mansions, no servants, just us. This is the life you left behind. Ethan's eyes lingered on the building, humble and worn but filled with a warmth he hadn't known in years. It's beautiful, he said quietly, because it's theirs, because it's yours. Sophia's breath hitched at his sincerity, but she forced her expression to remain hard. Don't romanticize it. You chose wealth over us once. Don't you dare insult us now with empty words. He shook his head, his voice trembling. They're not empty. I swear to you, Sophia, if I could trade every cent, I have to go back and undo the hurt. 'Cause I would, but I can't. All I can do is start here, with you, with them. The children, oblivious to the weight of the adults' exchange, clapped their hands. Papa, come inside, Anna urged, tugging at his hand. Sophia hesitated. Letting him step into their home felt like lowering a drawbridge she had fought to keep raised. But when she saw the longing in the children's eyes, she sighed and opened the door. Inside, the apartment was small but tidy, filled with little details of a life built on sacrifice. Drawings taped to the walls, hand-me-down toys carefully arranged, the faint smell of homemade soup lingering in the air. Ethan's throat tightened as he stepped inside, every corner screaming of the years he had missed. Elias ran to the table and grabbed a crayon drawing, holding it up proudly. Look, Papa, that's you. Mama showed us an old picture, and we drew you so you wouldn't be gone. Ethan took the paper with trembling hands. The drawing was simple, stick figures, a smiling father holding hands with 3 children. His vision blurred with tears. It's perfect, he whispered. You gave me a place here, even when I wasn't with you. Sophia's arms crossed, her heart aching. They gave you a place, she said softly. But I didn't. Not anymore. Don't confuse their forgiveness with mine. Ethan turned to her, his voice hoarse. I'm not asking for yours. Not yet. I'm asking for the chance to earn theirs and maybe someday yours too. For a moment, the silence in the room was unbearable, filled only with the triplets' soft chatter as they showed him their toys, their drawings, their little treasures. Sophia's chest ached at the sight. Ethan on the floor, surrounded by children who looked at him like a hero. It was everything she had dreamed of once, everything she had mourned as lost. And yet, deep inside, a fear gnawed at her. What if this was temporary? What if he left again? Shattering not only her but the children who now clung to him with such unguarded joy. Her eyes burned, and she turned away before he could see the tears threatening to fall. We'll see if you come tomorrow, she murmured, her voice almost breaking. Ethan looked up at her, his heart twisting at the fragility in her words. I'll be here, he said, steady and certain. No matter what it takes, I'll be here. The night settled in, and as Sophia tucked the children into bed, she overheard them whispering excitedly to one another about their father, how he had caught them at the slide, how he had promised never to leave. Their innocence was both a balm and a wound, reminding her of what was at stake. Ethan lingered at the doorway, his hand pressed to the frame, watching the children drift into sleep. He felt the weight of Sophia's eyes on him, filled with suspicion, but also something softer she tried to hide. When she finally spoke, her voice was low, almost trembling. If you break their hearts again, Ethan, there won't be a second chance. Not ever. He met her gaze, his own eyes wet with unshed tears. "I won't," he said simply. "I swear it on everything I am." Sophia didn't answer. She just turned away, her arms hugging herself tightly. But deep down, though she hated to admit it, his words had planted a seed. A fragile, dangerous seed of hope. Sophia appeared at the doorway, the children trailing behind her, small backpacks clutched in their hands. She paused when she saw Ethan, her expression unreadable, a mixture of caution and reluctant hope. "They're ready," she said curtly, her eyes scanning him as if searching for any sign of insincerity. "But remember, Ethan, one misstep and that trust vanishes. Completely." Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. "I understand. I won't fail them or you." Anna tugged at his sleeve, her bright eyes shining. "Papa, walk with us. Please." Ethan bent down to her level, smiling through the tension. "Of course, my little adventurers. Lead the way." They walked together through the streets, the children chattering excitedly, pointing out birds, puddles, and passing dogs. Ethan smiled, laughed, and engaged, feeling the weight of years of absence and the fragility of this second chance with every step. But the world outside was not oblivious to the tension that had been brewing for weeks. As they approached the corner where the small local market stood, Ethan spotted Isabella across the street. She had arrived early, her presence deliberate, her sharp eyes scanning the scene as if ready to strike at the first sign of weakness. Ethan's stomach tightened. He could feel her anger coiling in the air like a storm, but he didn't flinch. He straightened his shoulders, holding the children's hands tightly. "Stay close," he whispered to them, his voice steady but urgent. Isabella stepped forward, crossing the street with deliberate grace. "So, this is how it starts," she called, her voice loud enough for passers-by to hear. "Playing the devoted father while everyone believes you've changed. How charming." Sophia's grip on Elias's hand tightened. "Don't encourage her," she warned softly, though her eyes burned with suspicion. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the anger and contempt radiating from Isabella. "I don't care what you think," he said, his voice calm but firm. "This isn't about you. It's about them, the children. They are my responsibility, and I intend to honor it." Isabella's lips curled into a bitter smile. Responsibility after abandoning them for years. Responsibility is a laughable word coming from you. "What makes you think you deserve this chance?" Ethan's eyes narrowed, but his tone remained measured. "I don't deserve it. Not yet. I have to earn it every day, every hour, every action. But I am here. I haven't walked away this time, and I won't. That's all that matters now." Anna tugged at his sleeve, her small voice rising above the tension. "Papa, please don't fight. We just want to walk to school." Ethan knelt slightly, meeting her eyes. "I won't fight, Anna. I'm here for you, not them." He turned to Isabella, his voice carrying quiet authority. "Step back. This is not a battle for your amusement. I will not be intimidated." Isabella's eyes flickered with something between anger and fear. She realized that no matter how sharp her words, no matter how calculated her moves, she could not undo the bond forming between Ethan and the triplets. The children's trust, their laughter, their excitement. It was a fortress she could not breach. Sophia's voice broke through, cold but decisive. "If you try to manipulate them, Isabella, you'll regret it. Ethan is here, and I will protect my children. That's the end of it." Isabella's lips pressed into a thin line, her fury barely contained. "We'll see," she hissed, turning sharply and walking away, though her glare lingered like a shadow over the street. Ethan exhaled slowly, the tension leaving his shoulders in a mix of relief and residual fear. "They're gone," he said softly, though his heart was still pounding. "You okay?" He looked at Sophia, then at the children. Sophia's eyes softened slightly, but she kept her guard up. "For now," she said, her voice firm. "But don't expect this to be easy. She'll test you, every step of the way." Ethan nodded, looking down at the triplets. "I don't care what she throws at me. I'll be here. Promise. No matter what." Elias smiled faintly, squeezing his father's hand. "We know, Papa." Anna leaned against him, whispering, "We're happy you're back." Ethan's chest tightened, tears threatening to spill, but he held them back, swallowing hard. "I'm happy too, my little stars. Happiest I've ever been." They continued walking to school, the city bustling around them, unaware of the storm that had passed and the fragile trust that had begun to form. Ethan held the children's hands tightly, feeling the responsibility of the promise he had made, and the weight of the challenges he knew were still to come. Sophia stayed close but allowed him a little space, her eyes filled with cautious hope. She wanted to trust him, truly, but experience had taught her vigilance. And yet, she could not deny that this morning had changed something fundamental. Ethan's gaze swept over the children, their laughter a balm to his aching heart. "We'll get through this," he whispered to himself. "Every day, no matter what." He could hear soft footsteps approaching. Anna peeked around the corner, her eyes cautious but hopeful. "Papa, are you awake?" Ethan looked up, forcing a smile, though his chest was tight with emotion. "Yes, my little star. I'm awake," he said softly. "Come here." Anna stepped closer, the tiptoe of her small steps betraying a mix of excitement and fear. She climbed into the chair beside him, resting her head gently against his shoulder. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. Ethan's throat tightened. "Of course," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "Anything you want." I miss you," she whispered, barely audible. "Even when I didn't know you, I wished you were here. And now, I'm scared you'll leave again." Ethan felt the weight of guilt crush him. He took her tiny hand in his, holding it tightly, as if anchoring himself to reality. "Anna, I can't undo the years I missed. I can't take back the nights you cried without me, or the days I wasn't there. But I swear to you I won't leave again. I'll be here, always." Anna's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "Promise?" Ethan's lips trembled. "I promise, no matter what." The sound of the other two triplets laughing and playing in the next room reminded him of the life he had abandoned. Memories surged like a tidal wave. The birthdays he had missed, the scraped knees he hadn't bandaged, the stories left untold. The realization of how much he had lost pressed on his chest, making each breath a battle. Elias appeared in the doorway next, his eyes serious, as though he could sense the storm raging within Ethan. "Papa? Why did you leave us?" His voice wasn't angry, but filled with a quiet hurt that pierced Ethan deeper than any accusation. Ethan swallowed hard, the words catching in his throat. I made a terrible mistake," he admitted. "I thought I was doing what I needed to do for the family, but I was blind. I was selfish, and I hurt all of you." Elias's face twisted with confusion and pain. "But you didn't see us," he said, voice trembling. "You didn't come home. We waited, and we cried, and you weren't there." Ethan's hands shook as he reached out, cupping Elias's face gently. "I know," he whispered, tears spilling down his cheeks. "I know, and I will carry that guilt with me for the rest of my life. But I am here now, and I will never let it happen again. I will fight for your trust, every single day." Sophia appeared in the doorway, her arms crossed, her eyes still sharp but softer than before. She had listened silently, weighing each word, gauging his sincerity. "Guilt alone isn't enough, Ethan," she said. "You have to show them, show us, that your actions match your words." Ethan nodded, the weight of her judgment pressing down like stone. "I understand. I'll prove it, Sophia. Not with promises, but with every hour I spend with them, every step I take to be a father, every sacrifice I make." Anna looked between them, her small voice trembling with hope. "Papa, can we play before school?" Ethan laughed softly, a sound thick with relief and emotion. "Of course," he said, letting a small sense of normalcy flood the room. "Let's play for a little while. Then I'll walk you to school, and I'll be there tomorrow, and the day after, and every day I can." Sophia's gaze softened further, though she didn't relax fully. "I'll be watching," she said, voice firm but quiet. "One wrong step, Ethan, one moment where they feel abandoned again, and everything changes." You understand that I understand, he replied, his voice steady, eyes never leaving the children. And I'll earn their trust. I'll earn yours. I won't fail them again. Not now. Not ever. The children ran into the living room, their laughter echoing off the walls, and Ethan followed, allowing himself to be pulled into their world. He played with them, listening, laughing, guiding them gently, letting every action, every gesture reinforce his presence. Each smile, each hug, each whispered, "I love you, Papa," was a balm and a vow. But even in the joy, Ethan felt the weight of his past pressing against him. He knew Isabella's shadow lingered, that public tests and private manipulations awaited him. Every step forward was precarious, a tightrope walk over years of broken trust. But for now, in this small apartment filled with laughter and the scent of breakfast cooking, he felt the first fragile, but real, pulse of redemption. Sophia watched silently, her arms crossed but her expression softening as she observed him interact with the children. There was still fear, still caution, but she allowed herself a small acknowledgement. He was here, fully, and perhaps this time he would stay. Ethan knelt beside Anna, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "We'll face the world together," he whispered. "I'll be here for every moment, no matter what comes. You have my word." Anna hugged him tightly, and for the first time in years, Ethan allowed himself to believe in the possibility of a future where he truly belonged. They had just left the small park where the children had laughed and played under Ethan's watchful gaze. And now the quiet tension of the streets reminded him that the world outside their fragile bubble could be unpredictable. Suddenly, a shout rang out from the alley ahead, harsh and commanding. "Hey, you there!" Ethan froze, his body instinctively moving in front of the triplets. His eyes narrowed as a man stepped out from the shadows. A stranger, broad-shouldered, face shadowed with hostility. "Move aside," the man barked, voice sharp and menacing. "You're in my way." Ethan's chest tightened, every instinct screaming to protect the children. "We're just walking," he said calmly, though his fingers tensed around the triplets' small hands. "There's no need for this." The man laughed, low and dangerous. No need is for people who don't get what they want." He stepped closer, looming over Ethan. "Step aside or else." Anna whimpered, clutching his leg. Ethan bent down, brushing her hair back gently. "It's okay," he whispered, his voice steady despite the storm of fear rising in his chest. "Stay close to me. I've got you." Sophia stepped forward, her voice cold and firm. "Leave them alone. Now." Her tone carried an authority that seemed to momentarily shake the man. The stranger's eyes flicked to her, then back to Ethan. "And who's going to make me?" he sneered. "You." Ethan's jaw clenched, every second stretched taut as a wire. "Yes, me," he said quietly, but his tone held an unyielding strength. "And if you touch them, I swear, you'll regret it for the rest of your life." Elias tugged at his sleeve, eyes wide. "Papa, please be careful." Ethan's chest tightened with a mix of fear and determination. "I will," he whispered. "I won't let anyone hurt you. Not ever." The stranger lunged suddenly, and Ethan acted on instinct, stepping in front of the triplets, grabbing the man's arm and twisting it sharply. A sharp grunt of pain escaped the stranger as he staggered back. "Don't," Ethan warned, his voice low but deadly. "I said don't." Sophia grabbed Anna and pulled her closer, watching Ethan with a mixture of awe and concern. She could see the fire in him, the protective instinct that no words, no apologies, no past failures could ever diminish. The stranger stumbled back, glaring, clearly surprised by Ethan's resolve. "You think you can? I know I can," Ethan interrupted, his voice cold, unwavering. "You stay away from them, or I promise you won't get another chance to try." The tension hung thick in the air. The stranger's eyes flicked between the determined man in front of him and the small children clinging to him, innocence trembling but unbroken. With a curse, the man finally turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving a silence that felt as heavy as the confrontation itself. Ethan exhaled slowly, the adrenaline leaving his body in a rush. He knelt down, holding the triplets close. "It's over," he said softly, voice shaking with relief. "You're safe. Promise. No one will ever hurt you when I'm here." Anna buried her face in his chest, whispering, "Papa, you saved us." Ethan's chest tightened with emotion, tears threatening to spill. "I will always save you," he whispered back. "Every day, every hour, every moment. I'll never let anyone take you from me again." Sophia stepped closer, her eyes glistening. "That was more than I expected," she said quietly, voice trembling. "You really mean what you said yesterday, don't you?" Ethan looked up at her, exhausted but resolute. "I do," he said firmly. "I mean every word. I am here, Sophia. For them. For you. For all of us." The children clung to him, their small bodies a fragile shield that somehow strengthened his resolve. And as the evening shadows grew longer, Ethan realized that this moment, this fear, this triumph, was what it truly meant to be a father, to protect, to fight, to endure, and to never let go, no matter the danger, no matter the past. He felt the weight of responsibility, heavier than any business deal, stronger than any empire he had built. And yet, for the first time, he welcomed it, not as a burden, but as the purpose he had been searching for all these years. Sophia's gaze softened, though she remained cautious. "You've proven more today than I thought possible," she said. "But remember, trust is fragile. Don't give her, or them, any reason to doubt you again." Ethan nodded, his eyes sweeping over the children. "I won't. Not ever. I promise." As they approached the small cafe where Sophia often met with friends, a crowd of journalists and photographers suddenly appeared, cameras flashing, voices shouting. Ethan froze, his heart pounding, the children tightening their grip on him. "Papa, what's happening?" Anna asked, eyes wide with fear. Ethan crouched down, bringing his face to hers. "It's okay," he whispered, voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "They're just people taking pictures. Nothing can hurt us here. Stay close to me." The reporter's questions grew louder, invasive. "Mr. Whitman, is it true you abandoned your children? Are you planning to reclaim your family? Can we speak to your ex-wife?" Sophia stepped protectively in front of the children, arms crossed, jaw tight. "This is not a public event," she said firmly, her voice cutting through the chaos. "You will not speak to my children or me." Ethan's chest tightened, rage and anxiety warring inside him. He wanted to shout, to demand silence, but he held himself back, forcing a calm that belied the storm within. "Sophia," he said softly, "I've got this. Stay behind me." Isabella's influence was clear even here. Whispers of scandal and betrayal had made their way into the press. Ethan knew these questions weren't just idle curiosity. They were designed to shake the very foundation he was trying to rebuild. One journalist lunged forward, camera snapping. "Mr. Whitman, how do you respond to accusations that you left your wife and children for another woman? Are the triplets really yours?" Ethan inhaled sharply, his jaw clenching. The protective instinct surged stronger than anything else. "Yes," he said firmly, voice carrying over the commotion. "They are mine. I left once, and I regret it every single day. But I am here now. I will never leave them again." The crowd hesitated at the conviction in his voice. Some snapped more photos, but the edge of doubt was visible in their eyes. The children looked up at him, their small faces filled with a mixture of fear and trust. They had believed in him enough to hold his hand. He would not betray that trust. Sophia's arms relaxed slightly, though her eyes never left him. "Be careful," she murmured. "The world will try to tear this apart, but if you falter—" "I won't falter," Ethan said, determination lacing every word. He turned fully toward the cameras, the journalists, the flashing lights. "You may write stories, you may speculate, you may try to ruin us, but no story, no lie, no manipulation will touch the truth. These children are my life, my family, and nothing else matters." The triplets clung tighter, and Ethan felt their small weight anchoring him, reminding him of the stakes. He had no illusions. This was just the beginning of the scrutiny. the challenge of reclaiming not only their trust but the public perception shaped by years of absence and the venom of Isabella's interference. Anna tilted her head, curiosity mingled with fear. "Papa, are they going to hurt us?" Ethan's chest ached at the innocence in her question. He lifted her chin gently, looking into her eyes. "No, my little star," he said softly. "They can't hurt us. Not when we have each other. And I will protect you. Always." Sophia studied him, noting the steadiness in his tone, the unyielding strength behind his gaze. Her heart ached at the sight. The man who had once left them now standing tall, fighting not just for the children, but for redemption. She realized that this was the first true public test, and Ethan had passed with courage and dignity. One journalist, sensing a crack in the tension, asked sharply, "And the mother, will she allow you to reclaim your role fully?" Ethan glanced at Sophia, offering a small, reassuring nod. "I am not here to take over. I am here to share, to be present, to earn my place every single day. That is all I ask for now." Sophia's lips pressed together, a flicker of reluctant trust passing through her. "We'll see if words are enough," she said quietly, almost to herself, though her voice carried enough for him to hear. The crowd slowly dispersed, cameras still snapping but the immediate threat waning. Ethan held the triplets close, their small bodies trembling slightly from the adrenaline. He exhaled, feeling the weight of victory, but also the heavy reality that Isabella's manipulations and public pressure would not cease. Ethan knelt down, looking each child in the eyes. "I'm here," he whispered. "I'll be here through every challenge, every fear, every moment. You don't have to be scared anymore. I will never leave again." The children clung to him, their small hands gripping his like lifelines, and Ethan felt the fragile threads of trust growing stronger, despite the world's prying eyes. Sophia stood silently behind them, watching the interaction, aware that this moment was both a triumph and a warning. The fight for their family was far from over, but it was a fight he was willing to endure. As he stepped out of the car, his heart hammered, not from fear of the meeting itself, but from the weight of what was at stake. He was no longer the man who had walked away years ago. He was a father now, a protector, a husband in a sense of commitment he had never understood before. And Isabella, she was a threat to everything he had fought to rebuild. The elevator ride to her office was silent. His mind raced through every possible confrontation, every trap she might lay. He had to remain calm, composed, unwavering. The office door opened, revealing Isabella sitting behind her massive mahogany desk, arms crossed, her expression sharp, almost predatory. She didn't rise, didn't offer a greeting. Her eyes were icy, calculating, and filled with a smug anticipation. "So, you finally decided to show up?" she said, voice smooth, but every word dripping with contempt. "I was beginning to think you were too scared to face me." Ethan took a deep breath, stepping fully into the room. "I'm not here for games, Isabella," he said firmly. "I'm here because this ends tonight. I will not let you manipulate or intimidate my family any longer." Isabella's lips curved into a sly smile. "Manipulate, intimidate. You think you can just waltz back into their lives and suddenly be the hero? How convenient for you. But you forget. I still have a place in their world. I still have influence." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Not for long. I've earned my place, Isabella. You've tried to twist their reality, spread lies, create fear. But they see the truth. They see me. And I will not let you hurt them or Sophia again." She leaned back in her chair, her gaze sharp, piercing. "Oh, Ethan, you were never strong enough before, and I doubt you are now. Children, family, they make men weak. How pathetic that you think you can protect them from me when you've failed in the past." Ethan felt a surge of anger, but he forced it down, letting calm authority flow through him instead. "I've failed before, yes," he admitted, voice steady, eyes locked on hers. "But I am not the same man. I am a father now. I am present, accountable, and I will do whatever it takes to keep my family safe. And that includes confronting you." Isabella's expression flickered with irritation. She stood abruptly, the click of her heels echoing sharply in the office. "You really think your presence changes anything? That my power is gone? I will do whatever I need to ensure you remain the outsider, Ethan. You don't deserve to be here. They don't deserve you." Ethan took a step forward, unwavering. "The only thing that matters now is the children, and I will fight for them with every ounce of my being. You may try to interfere, to manipulate, to intimidate, but I will not be moved. Not this time. Not ever." Isabella's eyes narrowed. Bold words for a man who was once weak, foolish, and abandoned everyone who trusted him. Ethan's chest tightened, not from fear, but from the memory of those years lost. The birthdays, the tears, the nights he had not been there. "I cannot change the past," he said quietly, almost mournfully. "But I can fight for the future, for them, and I will. I swear it." For a long moment, Isabella said nothing. She studied him, her face an inscrutable mask, her mind likely running through every possible retort, every manipulation, every subtle threat. Finally, she leaned back, exhaling sharply. "You're persistent," she said slowly. "I'll give you that, but persistence won't win you anything. Not respect, not trust, not your family's loyalty. You're playing with fire, Ethan. You can't protect them from everything. You can't protect yourself from me." Ethan's eyes burned with conviction. "I don't need to protect myself from you. I only need to protect them. That's all I care about. You want to test me? Go ahead. But know this: I am ready. I have been ready for a long time." Isabella's lips pressed into a thin line, a flicker of frustration passing over her features. She had expected hesitation, weakness, doubt, but Ethan stood firm, unshakable. For the first time, she realized that the man she had once controlled had transformed. "You're a fool," she whispered, voice low but dangerous. "You think love and promises are stronger than fear and power." Ethan stepped closer, voice calm but filled with steel. "Love, loyalty, and dedication. Those are what make a man unbreakable. You may try to manipulate them, scare them, or control them, but you will never break what I have built with them. Never." The room fell into tense silence. Isabella's eyes flashed, the fire of anger and calculation dancing behind them. She wanted to win, to assert dominance, to reclaim some shred of influence. But she realized, reluctantly, that Ethan was no longer the man she could intimidate. He was anchored, rooted, unwavering, and nothing she could throw at him would dismantle the bond he had forged with Sophia and the children. Ethan exhaled slowly, letting the tension hang. "I will always fight for them," he said softly, his gaze unwavering. "And no one, not you, not anyone, will ever come between us again." Isabella turned sharply, her heels clicking on the floor as she stormed toward the door. She paused, glancing over her shoulder, eyes burning with a mixture of fury and grudging respect. "This isn't over, Ethan, but I see you're not the same man. I'll be watching." The door clicked shut behind her, leaving Ethan alone in the office. He sank into a chair, chest heavy with relief and adrenaline. For the first time in years, he felt a tangible sense of control over his life. Not absolute control, but enough to know he had faced a true threat and survived. Flicker of her calculated fury. He stepped into the living room, greeted by the sight of the triplets sprawled on the floor with scattered toys, their laughter ringing like fragile bells in the stillness. Sophia was in the kitchen, preparing dinner, her posture tense, shoulders tight as if she could still sense the threat of Isabella even from miles away. Anna looked up, her small face lighting with excitement. "Papa, did you see the big man? Did you make him go away?" Ethan knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. "I did, my little star," he said softly, though the ache in his chest was raw. "He won't bother you anymore, I promise." Elias, ever the cautious one, frowned. "But he could come back, couldn't he?" His voice carried the shadow of fear that had been building since yesterday, the unease of a child aware of the dangers adults often tried to hide. Ethan swallowed hard, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. "He could," he admitted quietly, "but that's why I'm here. I'll face anything to keep you safe. You don't have to be afraid. Not when I'm around." Sophia appeared from the kitchen, drying her hands on a towel. Her eyes were soft but guarded. "Ethan, the children are frightened. They can feel the tension, even if we try to shield them. Isabella's influence isn't just her presence. It's the fear she spreads, the doubt she plants." Ethan nodded, moving toward her, his voice calm yet filled with unshakable conviction. "I know. That's why I won't let her reach them. She wants to control them through fear, through doubt. But she can't touch what we've built here. Not tonight, not ever." Just as he spoke, a knock echoed through the house. Ethan froze, every muscle coiled, heart hammering. The triplets paused, their small hands clutching at him instinctively. Sophia's eyes narrowed. "Who could that be at this hour?" she whispered, voice tight. Ethan stepped to the door slowly, hand hovering over the handle. He opened it to reveal a man in a sharp suit, holding a small envelope. The man's expression was polite but unreadable. "Evening, sir. Delivery for Mr. Whitman," he said, handing over the envelope before retreating silently into the shadows. Ethan's fingers trembled slightly as he took the envelope. Something about the delivery felt deliberate, calculated, invasive. He looked at Sophia. "It's from her," he murmured, voice low. "I know it." Sophia's eyes hardened, the tension coiling tighter around her. "Don't let them scare you. Whatever she's sending, it's just a message. Don't open it in front of the children." Ethan nodded, moving to the kitchen table, the triplets clustering around him, their curiosity palpable. "It's nothing," he said softly, forcing a smile. "Just a piece of paper. Nothing to worry about." But the moment he slit the envelope open, a folded note slipped out, the handwriting unmistakable, sharp, elegant, mocking. Ethan's heart skipped, reading the words aloud in a low, steady voice, masking the anger rising in him. "Enjoy your little family while it lasts. I see everything, every move you make, every step you take. One wrong decision and it all crumbles." Ethan's chest tightened, the warning slicing into him with icy precision. He felt the flicker of fear, but he forced it down, replacing it with determination. He looked at Sophia, whose lips pressed into a thin line, eyes locked on him. "They're testing you," she whispered. "They want to see if you'll crumble under the pressure, if you'll let fear dictate your actions." Ethan folded the note carefully, his jaw set. "Fear won't control me," he said firmly. "I've faced worse. I've lost worse. And now, I have everything to protect. Nothing will take it away from me. Not her, not anyone." The triplets had been watching him, sensing the tension, the danger, and the protective fire igniting within their father. Anna stepped forward, small hand reaching up. "Papa, you're not scared?" Ethan knelt to her level, looking into her trusting eyes. "I'm always a little scared," he admitted softly, voice thick with emotion. "But that's what being a father means. Being scared, but still standing, still protecting, still loving you no matter what." Elias and the third triplet, Liam, stepped closer, their small faces filled with admiration and lingering fear. "We trust you, Papa," Elias said quietly. Ethan felt tears prick the corners of his eyes, his chest swelling with a mix of love, determination, and the raw ache of responsibility. "And I will earn that trust every day," he said, voice unwavering. "I will face anything, any threat, and I will keep you safe. Always." Sophia placed a hand on his shoulder, the faintest hint of a smile appearing. "Then let's face this together," she said softly. "We can't let fear run our lives. We won't. We're stronger than she imagines." Ethan stood, holding the children close for a moment longer, feeling the weight of the evening, the subtle threat from Isabella, the lingering tension that now seeped into their home. But he felt the fire inside him burn brighter than ever. The promise he had made, the bond he had rebuilt, and the unwavering determination to protect his family no matter what. Outside, the night was quiet, but Ethan knew it was only a lull, a pause before the next challenge. He folded the note and placed it on the table where Sophia could see it. A silent warning, but also a declaration. They would not be intimidated. They would not be manipulated. He looked at the triplets, their small faces lit with trust and innocence, and whispered, "No one will ever threaten our family. Not her, not anyone. We're together. And together, we're unstoppable." Anna curled into Ethan's side as he rocked her gently, her small face pressed against his chest. "Papa, do you really mean you'll never leave us again?" Her voice trembled slightly, vulnerability threading through her question. Ethan tightened his hold, inhaling the faint scent of her hair, feeling the fragile trust she placed in him. "I do, my little star. Promise. Every single day, I'll be here for you, for all of you. I'll never walk away again." Elias shifted uncomfortably beside him, frowning, his young eyes thoughtful and piercing. "But you left before, Papa," he said softly. "How can we know you won't again? How can we trust you?" The words hit Ethan like a physical blow, raw and unyielding. He swallowed hard, the guilt from the past crashing over him in waves he could not control. I know," he admitted, voice tight. "I don't expect you to forget what happened. I don't expect you to believe me instantly. I can only show you, every single day, that I am here now. I am not leaving, not ever again." Sophia watched silently, tension visible in the lines of her face. Her voice was quiet but firm. "Ethan, trust is fragile. They need time and they need consistency. You can't fix years of absence in one night." "I know that," he whispered, eyes glistening. "I can't erase the past, but I can fight for their future. I can be here in every moment, every laugh, every tear. I will prove it, Sophia. You'll see. They'll see." Liam, the third triplet, who had been playing quietly with his toys, finally looked up, his small voice hesitant. "Papa, why did you leave us before?" Ethan's chest tightened painfully, the question cutting deeper than any confrontation, any threat from Isabella. He felt the weight of their tiny faces, innocent yet haunted by abandonment, pressing down on him. I was foolish, scared, and selfish," he said finally, each word steeped in remorse. "I thought I was making decisions for the best, but I was blind. I hurt all of you, and I am sorry, more than I can ever say." Anna clung tighter, her small hands gripping his shirt. "I missed you," she whispered, voice trembling. "I cried sometimes and wondered, why didn't you love us enough to stay?" Tears blurred Ethan's vision. "I did love you," he said, voice thick with emotion. "More than anything. I was weak, but I am stronger now. Strong enough to fight for you, to protect you, to never let you feel that hurt again." Elias looked down, jaw tight, eyes shining with unshed tears. "It hurts," he admitted quietly. "It hurts that you weren't there, that we waited, that Mom had to do everything alone." Ethan's throat tightened, guilt piercing him like a knife. He reached out, cupping Elias's face gently. "I know it does, and I will never try to take that away. I can only promise to be here now, to make every day with me count. I will earn your trust even if it takes years. I will not give up." Sophia stepped closer, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You have to understand," she said softly. "They're scared of being hurt again. That's natural. You have to be patient, and you have to let them lead their own healing, even as you guide them." Ethan nodded, swallowing hard, the raw ache of responsibility pressing down on him. "I understand. I will wait, I will listen, I will be present. Every single day. I won't fail them again. I can't." Anna nestled her head into his chest again, whispering, "Papa, I believe you." Ethan's heart clenched, relief and heartbreak mingling in a tight, bittersweet knot. "Thank you, my little star," he whispered, voice shaking. "That means everything to me. I'll spend every day proving that I'm worthy of your trust, your love, your laughter." Elias's small hand touched his arm. "Papa, I want to try," he said quietly. "I want to believe." Tears slipped down Ethan's cheeks as he pulled both boys close, holding them tightly against him. "Then we'll do it together," he whispered. "We'll heal together. I promise I will never leave you again. I will always be here, in every moment, every choice, every breath." Sophia watched him, a mix of awe and cautious hope in her eyes. She realized that this was not just about words, not just about promises. This was about action, consistency, and the raw, unshakable presence of a father willing to endure pain, fear, and guilt to reclaim the family he had lost. Outside, the city moved on, unaware of the fragile bonds being rebuilt within these walls, unaware of the silent battles of trust, forgiveness, and emotional healing. Inside, Ethan held his children close, feeling the weight of the past and the fierce hope of the future intertwine, knowing that this night marked a turning point, a first step in mending the fractures caused by abandonment, and the beginning of a journey toward true, unbreakable family unity. As they approached a small fountain where the children liked to feed the pigeons, a sudden, deliberate obstruction caught Ethan's eye. A woman stepped into their path, impeccably dressed, her expression pleasant but calculating. She held a tablet in her hands, recording their every move. "Papa, who is she?" Liam asked, uncertainty lacing his small voice. Ethan's chest tightened instantly. He recognized the strategy. Isabella's subtle manipulations had begun again, designed to unsettle them, to invade their peaceful moments with doubt and fear. "Stay close to me," he said quietly, protective instinct flaring. "I'll handle this." The woman smiled politely, voice soft but purposeful. "Good morning. I'm just capturing the atmosphere here for a local lifestyle feature. May I include your children? They look so lovely." Ethan's jaw clenched. He knew this was no casual inquiry. Isabella had arranged this. She wanted them watched, scrutinized, tested. He knelt slightly to meet the triplets' eyes. "We're not going to answer any questions. Okay, just keep feeding the pigeons. Play with each other. I've got you." Anna frowned, sensing the tension but trusting him. "Papa, is she going to hurt us?" "No," Ethan said firmly, brushing her hair back gently. "She's just nosy. She can't hurt us. Not when we're together." The woman's tablet captured every motion, the children tossing breadcrumbs, their small laughter, Ethan's hand firmly around theirs. But there was a subtle intensity in her eyes, a cold precision that revealed the orchestrated intent behind Isabella's plan. Sophia, observing silently, placed a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder. "She's just a messenger," she whispered. "But the message is clear. Isabella wants to remind us that she's still in control, even from a distance. It's a psychological trap, Ethan." Ethan inhaled deeply, anger simmering but controlled. "She wants fear. She wants hesitation. She wants us doubting ourselves." He stood taller, voice low but filled with resolve. "We won't give her that. Not today. Not ever." The woman's attention shifted to him, noting the intensity in his gaze. "Excuse me, sir. The children are adorable. You must be proud." Ethan's lips pressed into a firm line. "I am proud," he said, tone calm yet unyielding. "But they're not for sale, not for your story, not for anyone's manipulation. We're leaving now." The woman hesitated, then nodded, realizing her role had been challenged. She stepped aside as Ethan guided the children toward the edge of the plaza, the triplets walking close, small hands clinging to his. Anna glanced up, her innocence untainted by the subtle tension. "Papa, I think she was trying to scare us." Ethan stopped, kneeling beside her, his chest tight with both relief and lingering anger. "Yes, she was," he admitted. "But you see, that's the difference between them and us. Fear doesn't control us. Love does. Trust does. And together, nothing can shake us." Elias frowned, processing the encounter. "But what if she tries again or sends someone else, Papa? How will we know we're safe?" Ethan pulled both boys into his arms, holding them tightly. "We won't always know, but we have each other. That's stronger than any fear, stronger than any scheme. Isabella may try, but she will never have the power we hold here." Sophia, standing a step back, allowed herself a quiet breath. "You handled that well," she said softly. "But she won't stop. Not until she's sure you can't protect them. Or until she's pushed you too far." Ethan looked down at the triplets, their small faces shining with trust despite the subtle threat. "Then I'll keep standing," he said, voice firm. "I'll face every challenge she sends our way. I'll protect you always, and I'll make sure she understands that we are stronger than any fear she can conjure." Liam, curiosity mixed with newfound confidence, smiled faintly. "Papa, we believe you. We know you'll protect us." Tears stung Ethan's eyes as he hugged them close, the weight of responsibility mingling with the strength of their trust. "And I will, my little warriors. I will fight for every laugh, every step, every dream you have. You'll never be afraid alone again." Sophia placed her hand on his arm, eyes meeting his, silent acknowledgement passing between them. Ethan's resolve had strengthened, his protective instincts sharper than ever. Isabella's interference had not broken them. It had only revealed the depth of his commitment, the intensity of his love, and the unshakable foundation of their family bond. As they walked through the plaza, the city bustling around them, Ethan felt the invisible threads of tension slowly unravel, replaced by determination, vigilance, and a fierce, unyielding love. He knew the challenges ahead would only grow more complex, more cunning, but tonight, he had demonstrated that no scheme, no subtle threat, could shake the family they had begun to rebuild. "What is it?" he asked, voice low but firm, already sensing the storm he feared. Sophia turned to him, eyes dark with apprehension. "It's Isabella," she said, her voice tight. "She was here earlier. She tried to leave a package at the house when I went out for a moment." "A warning, Ethan. She's escalating." Ethan's chest tightened. He dropped into a chair, the weight of responsibility pressing down harder than ever. "A warning? Did she touch the children?" "No," Sophia said quickly, shaking her head. "Not directly, but it was meant for you to find. She wants you unsettled, scared, second-guessing every move. She's testing us, testing you, and I think she's planning to go further." Ethan exhaled, running a hand through his hair, the adrenaline of urgency and anger coursing through him. "Then we need to be ready," he said firmly. "We can't let her manipulate or threaten them. She's crossed enough lines already." Sophia frowned, a flicker of fear passing over her features. "Ethan, it's more than that now. She knows the children trust you. That scares her. She's dangerous, and she's relentless. She'll stop at nothing to destabilize this family." Ethan stood suddenly, a fierce determination flaring in his chest. "Then she's about to learn that she picked the wrong people to mess with. Nobody threatens my children. Nobody threatens Sophia. Nobody." Just then, the triplets ran into the room, their small faces lit with curiosity. Anna looked up at Ethan, her eyes wide. "Papa, is she going to come back?" Ethan knelt to their level, keeping his voice calm despite the storm raging inside him. "No one is going to hurt you," he said softly, brushing a strand of hair from Anna's face. "We're together, and I will protect you always. You have to trust me." Elias and Liam exchanged glances, the worry evident but tempered by the trust in their father's words. "We do trust you, Papa," Elias said quietly. Ethan pulled them close, the weight of responsibility coiling tight in his chest. "Good. That trust. It's precious, and I'll fight for it every single day. You're my everything." The room fell quiet for a moment, the tension thick but shifting, until Sophia spoke, her voice soft but insistent. "Ethan, you need to confront her directly. She won't stop unless she sees you standing firm, unwavering. She'll keep escalating, testing the limits of what you can endure. It's only a matter of time before she tries something more personal." Ethan's eyes narrowed, the fire of resolve igniting. "Then I will be ready. I will face her no matter what she throws at us. I won't let her touch what we've rebuilt. Not now, not ever." Sophia moved closer, her hand brushing his arm. "Just be careful. She's clever, manipulative, and She knows exactly how to strike fear. Ethan nodded, the weight of her words settling over him, sharpening his focus. I know, but fear doesn't control me anymore. Love does, trust does, and I will use that strength to protect you all, no matter what she tries. The triplets clung closer, sensing the intensity in the adults' conversation, the underlying threat that had seeped into their lives. Anna whispered, Papa, we're safe with you. Right? Ethan pulled her into his arms, his chest tightening with emotion. Yes, my little star, he said softly, voice thick with feeling. We're safe, and I will make sure nothing ever breaks that safety again. Sophia studied him, seeing the depth of determination, the unyielding courage in his gaze. Then we need a plan, she said quietly. She won't give up on trying to undermine us. We have to anticipate her moves, protect the children, and stand united. Ethan exhaled, the tension in his chest still present but tempered by resolve. We'll do whatever it takes. Nothing she does will break this family. Nothing. Just then, a soft knock at the door jolted them all. Ethan's pulse quickened instantly. He approached cautiously, hand hovering near the handle. Through the glass panel, he saw a delivery man with a small package in his hands. Something about the timing, the